I'd like to welcome everyone here to Umusic.ca. We've got two members of AFI. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Davey Havoc.
I'm Jade.
Now I want to talk about the new album, Sing the Sorrow. How long were you in the studio for this?
We were in for 5 months.
5 months. Was this unusual for you? Do you usually do things a lot quicker than this?
Yes. Yes, we do. It's the longest we've ever spent. As long as we've spent writing, as long as we've spent recording, the whole process was a lot longer than we've ever taken before. But it was really nice because we were afforded more time than we had ever been given before, which really resulted in us being able to reach a place with the end product that we've never really been able to achieve before, sort of level of satisfaction on our part.
So you brought in Butch Vig and Jerry Finn. How was it working with them, and why did you bring them in? Because you guys are usually like a do-it-yourself type band, usually produce everything yourself, so why bring in the new guy?
Yeah, as you said, we were used to producing our records ourselves for the most part. All of our records up until this point have been produced on our own, but we really were interested in having that sort of outside creative input. When you're so close to a project, it's nice to have an outsider whose opinion you respect come in and to enhance what you're doing. We, however, were very particular in who we wanted to be that outsider. We wanted someone who we respected, and Butch Vig and Jerry Finn were two of those people. It's very obvious as to why their skills and their expertise and their history really speaks for them. So it was really a great experience working with Jerry and Butch. It was great.
There actually was a producer on Art of Drowning. It just didn't really end up being a very good experience. So we were kind of reticent, I think. But the fact that these guys are the two in the top echelon of producers out there. So really, we just figured everything on this album's different. We wanted to do everything to the best of our ability. And I think this was just another aspect of that.
I just want to ask you guys, do you guys prefer recording in the studio, or do you prefer playing live? And why?
I definitely prefer playing live. It's really nice to get the end result of the recording, but I love to perform. It's one of the greatest things in the world to be able to play a different city every night, and to go out there and have the crowd singing along. Yeah, that's it.
Really, recording live isn't necessarily something that you look forward to doing. What you look forward to doing is getting your music on tape, thereby enabling you to go out and play it. So recording is more work, and playing is the enjoyment of being in a band.
Now, I want to talk to you about your fans, you in particular, Davey, because you actually have a website called the Church of Havoc. And I'm just going to read a quote from this. There is only one truth, Havoc's truth. We shall all be straight edge. We shall all be vegans. Our whole life is a dark room, one big dark room. And beyond and to all time we stand. We are wakeful, wry, and watchful. We're awaiting. We are the ones who have a fire inside. We are the only ones we can recognize. Through our bleeding, we are one. Everything Davey Havoc has ever written needs to be taken seriously and literally. These are some pretty heavy words and some pretty heavy statements. How does this affect you?
I love my children very much, wholly, and I think that and many other examples. That you could draw from, not from such extreme ends as the church, is just kind of an indication that I think people gravitate toward us on that level. Because there's an honesty in our music, and there's emotion that's in our music that is very real, that appeals to a certain group of people who may not have that sort of honesty and have that emotion in other facets of their lives. I think that if people can find that sort of comfort in us, I think it's really a wonderful thing. And for me, my words that I write are just my feelings. It is myself, and I really couldn't do anything other than what I do. And in expressing who I am and having people appreciate that, I really find it just an amazing satisfaction. Isn't even in the word. It's just so is so surreal and wonderful that people can appreciate what we do to that level. It's cool.
Do you think that will ever go away? Like that feeling of like awe and appreciation for your fans? Do you think you'll ever get used to it?
I don't think so. It hasn't over the years. It always strikes me. It touches me very deeply. Like I just the other night, I mean, I had a few kids who came up to me and explained to me that, you know, somehow our songs and my words have saved their lives, and that they wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for us. And that's amazing. I mean, that makes absolutely everything we do so much more worthwhile. This is what I love to do either way, but to have that sort of impact on somebody's life. And you know, I also have people come up to me, very young kids come up to me and say that they were so deeply involved in drugs until they discovered our band and kind of looked more into some of our philosophies, and now they're totally clean, and they said that their lives are completely different and completely better as a result of it, and thanked me for that. And to make that kind of change in someone's life, I mean, I can never grow numb to that. You know, how could you? You know.
I also have another quote here from Revolver magazine, and this is a quote of yours, and it says, "The state of modern music is horrible. People are going backwards, trying to create music that's already been done several times, or they're doing hybrid music, taking two genres that sound great alone but horrible together." Now, are there any bands out there who are doing it right, in your opinion?
Yeah, in fact, since I made that statement, I've actually been listening to the radio far more than I have then. Since they started playing our song, I keep the radio on at all times in order to hear it, because it excites me every time, no matter how many times I hear it. And I think it's really gotten a lot better now. In fact, I know it has, because you could turn on the radio and you can hear Fisher Spinner, and you could hear Interpol, and you could hear Queens of the Stone Age, and those are great bands. They're all like authentic, real, wonderful bands, and it's really nice to have that sort of refreshing change. And I think that change continues. You know, you can hear Sparta on the radio every once in a while, and it's Jimmy Eat World. It's getting a lot better. It's nice.
I think the radio and MTV is letting these bands filter in, like, you know, Interpol or like the Queens of the Stone Age, like real rock bands or bands that actually, you know, are bucking the trend. And I think that's a sign that things are about to change. We're about to see a paradigm shift, kind of like when Nirvana came in and changed everything. And I think everybody kind of wants that. Kids just don't really know yet, I think, but they're getting tired of everything they're hearing and everything they're being forced to listen to. And I think that hopefully we can be part of that. It'd be nice to be part of it, you know? Maybe an agent of change.
And speaking of great albums, I want to mention the Transplants album. You do guest vocals on that. Now, how'd you get involved with that? Because that's an amazing album.
Well, we've been friends with Rob and Tim for years. Actually, I mean, the Transplants began as just Rob and Tim together. It was really Rob's project, and I did vocals on that record years ago. Yeah, I mean, that record has been in the works for a long time, and you know, we love those guys. Rob used to tour with us. We tour with Rancid. You know, we really, all of us really kind of, you know, have been in the same family for years. So when Rob recorded the Quick Death song, and it had kind of a ministry feel to it, kind of a little KMFDM, a little Slayer involved, he said, "This is a song that I want you to sing on." So he and I collaborated on the words and the structure with Tim, and it just came together.
At least. Now, what children's story could be best transformed into a horror story?
You said children's story, and I immediately started thinking of the children's stories that I've been reading lately, which are called A Series of Unfortunate Events. Are you familiar with those? By Lemony Snicket. Those would easily be transformed into a horror story because they're written in that vein. Nothing positive ever happens. It starts miserably and it ends miserably, and I think it's really tailored towards adults more than it is children. They're really wonderful children's stories, so check those out. But those would any of all the Grimm's fairy tales.
Yeah, the Grimm's fairy tales are really, when you look at it, they're really dark, and everything that happens is kind of depressing, and there's a lot of death, and it's kind of macabre.
any of those. You know, I mean, the original Cinderella with the blood and the shoes, and I was just thinking of some of the old fairy tales the other day. I was thinking of Jack and Jill, and I saw it, and I recited the whole. What was? I call it fairy tales, not fairy tale. It's a nursery rhyme. Those are dark too. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after.
Because when those were written, a lot of those were meant to be these kind of these parables, like these kind of warnings to children, and so they always had kind of a macabre twist at the end. So yeah, those are good. I haven't read Grimm's fairy tales for a long time.
I just want to know if there's anything you want to say to your fans out there on the web.
Yeah, we'd really like to thank all of you who have been with us for this long and who truly understand and appreciate what we're doing. I always say this, just really true. Your loyalty and dedication really doesn't go unnoticed, and we really appreciate it. And we hope you continue to be with us from here on.
Get off the internet, read a book.